a Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion music video went viral this past week, called WAP, W-A-P. And if you don't know what that means, it stands for wet ass pussy.
Oh, demonetized.
According to insider.com, doctors are firing back at critics of WAP. Now, I'm pretty sure WAP is a slur. So when I say WAP, I'm saying W-A-P. That's what I'm referring to. And I'm going to call it WAP and not W-A-P. It's easier for me to say WAP. So I'm not trying to be an anti-PC motherfucker. I'm just trying to save a few seconds here. So doctors are firing back at critics of WAP, saying it's unhealthy for people to have lubricated genitals. I'm sorry, healthy. Wow.
What?
Okay, doctors say it's healthy. The critics are saying it's unhealthy.
What the hell?
Yeah. So if you're a woman and your vagine is wet, then that's fine. It's okay. It's supposed to be. It's actually a problem if it's not. It's a problem on both ends if it's not.
So this guy just completely outed himself then? Is that what happened?
Well, Ben Shapiro is a conservative radio host. We've talked about him on this show before. I don't listen to him. I really don't know much about him other than he just strikes me as the kind of guy who just has a very punchable face.
I'm popular and no one has ever heard of you.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah. But he was one of the critics over this song WAP, with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, and went so far as to not really call himself out for being ignorant and show his ignorance, but to put his wife on the spot. And I don't know if she is okay with this or if she's, I don't know how she'd react. I don't know how my wife would react if, and speaking as someone who's done this plenty of times in the past on this show, she doesn't react well when I have done it in the past. I don't know how she'd react if I started throwing out medical conditions, started divulging that information. So yeah. Ben Shapiro, he posted on Twitter while criticizing this song, and I haven't heard the song, by the way. I have no idea what it sounds like.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was until I saw people making fun of Ben Shapiro and the Ben Shapiro memes coming out. Mm-hmm. Ben Shapiro says on Twitter, quote, "My only real concern is that the women involved, who apparently require a, quote, bucket and mop, get the medical care they require. My doctor wife's differential diagnosis, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infection, or I'm not even going to try trichomonas. Trichomonas is an infection caused by a parasite called Trichomonas vaginalis."
Oh no.
Yeah, I got some good mispronunciation audio coming up later in this episode, so I'm no better than the person that we'll talk about when we get to that point. But yeah, Ben Shapiro just announcing to the world that Mrs. Shapiro is a bit dry down there, and she's baking bread, if you know what I mean.
Mops.
What
is he doing? Oh no. That is horrible. Like I just imagine he was like, one woman means that's how all of them are.
Right.
Like that classic, like, this is happening to the person that I know, so that must be for everyone.
Bag of sand. Look, my understanding is if the entryway is not slick, then it's pretty much, it has the potential to injure the guy.
Yeah.
If you don't have that lubrication, both parties are going to hurt themselves in some way.
Yeah. Like when you ride a scooter barefoot and you get your foot stuck under the scooter and it I don't fucking know what I was talking about. I was just reminded of the time that I used to razor scooter with bare feet, and I thought that was a good idea.
I remember there were razor scooter video games like at the turn of the millennium, and I had one of them, and it had actually a really good like indie soundtrack, but yeah, they otherwise were not. One was a bad Tony Hawk's Pro Skater ripoff, and the other was like a racing game, and both of which were you could tell they were designed for the budget gamers in mind. And I remember asking my parents, "Hey, can I have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?" And like, "Well, we got your Razor Freestyle scooter. That's the same thing, right?"
You can do the trick where you jump up and you spread your feet, and that was cool. Or whatever it was called. When Razor scooters were popular, I asked my parents for one for like my birthday or something, and they took me to Bradley's and bought like an off-brand scooter. It wasn't even a Razor. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I had that. It's the same thing. The sad thing is that us talking about being kind of made fun of, I kind of outed myself as like, oh, he just related to scooters as sex. So I've done the same thing. It's done full circle.
What you're saying is that you're very mean. What you're saying is you're very well educated in this topic.
Yeah. They'll just use a clip of me being like, yeah, sex without any kind of lubricant is basically when you are on a scooter barefoot.
It's the exact same thing, actually.
It's exactly the same thing.
Thank you, Dr. Nate. YouTube.com/Nate. And
telling you about that and number 2 pencils.
So Ben Shapiro, during his show, that again I've never listened to, talked about this song WAP, W-A-P, and went so far as to recite the lyrics to the song. So if calling out his wife wasn't enough for having a dry vagina, trying to be hip was the next best thing. So let me see if I can do the thing here so you can see my thing. Can you see my thing?
I can.
All right. Here's Ben Shapiro on his show talking about this Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion song.
Here are some of the lyrics. You ready? Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Hold up. I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass P-word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P-word. P-word is female genitalia. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P-word. Give me everything you got for this wet ass P-word. Beat it up N-word. Catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P-word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I want to ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P-word is wet, come take a dive. It continues along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like a lot more vulgar. Talk your S-word, bite your lip. Ask for a call while you ride that D-word. You really ain't never gonna F him for a thing. He already made his mind up before he came. Now get your boots and your coat for this wet-ass P-word. Pay my tuition just to kiss me on this wet-ass P... Right, so this is... Guys... This is what feminists fought for. This is what the feminist movement was all about. It's not it's not really about, women being treated as independent, full, rounded human beings. It's about wet ass P-word. And if you say anything differently, it's because you're a misogynist, you see. It gets really, really vulgar.
Word to your mother.
Wow. I couldn't get over with all the different P-word, like all the different words. Like the way he was censoring himself with...
Give me everything you got for this wet-ass P-word.
That got me.
P-word is female genitalia.
If you didn't know.
Thank you. That was quite a treat to watch. I can see why the internet is reacting the way it is now.
I don't even need to listen to the song now. I don't, because I have the Ben Shapiro version, and that's just enough for me.
This P-word is wet. Come take a dive.
Come take a dive.
It's almost
perfectly enunciating.
Yeah, it's almost like what's his name? William Shatner, when he did like the spoken word.
When William Shatner does anything.
Yeah.
When he reads off his grocery list. So there's there's that song, wet ass pussy, and Ben Shapiro reciting lyrics.
Hop on top, I want to ride. I do a Kegel while it's inside.
While calling out his wife, who again has no shame in announcing that she has bacterial vaginosis or a yeast infection. If she's a doctor, she probably doesn't care, but still, like that, no one needs to know that.
No.
Ben Shapiro, too, also sort of a joke of the internet, if I understand it correctly. I was seeing memes, and this is why I actually had to do the research. This is why I finally caved and decided I needed to look this up. Is the first part of the meme said Ben Shapiro's wife when she wants sex, and the second part was SpongeBob from the first episode of the series when he's in Sandy's house and he's suffocating because there's no water.
Yeah, that's the one I saw too.
Yeah, so that's when I finally decided to look it up.
Yeah, I didn't know. And like I did that thing where like Facebook shuffles, like I found it, but I couldn't find it again, because then I learned later that he was involved with something. And I was like, oh, let me see if I can find that meme again. I couldn't find it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Again, you don't need to hear the song because Ben Shapiro did a fine job covering it for us.
P word is female genitalia.